Hey everyone, I'm Lauren from My Something Beautiful Life, and today we're going to talk about my setup for this ERIN CONDREN monthly planner. I ordered this during the, what was it called? Lucky You sale, I think. It was basically the equivalent of a warehouse sale, and all of the dated planners were 50% off, and so I grabbed this one because I've been having trouble in some areas knowing how to plan for them. And so I thought having a flexible space like this might be really helpful for that. And even since ordering it, my intention for this has changed. So first of all, the new life planners came out and I received one that has the dashboard layout. And so I'm excited to try that one starting in July. I'll actually probably start moving into it in May because it does have a May and June monthly calendar, but I won't be able to use any weekly pages in it until July, but that should be fine. In addition to that, on launch day, I actually purchased the Daily Duo, which I haven't used that since the end of last year, I think. But lately I have been thinking again that it might be nice to have a daily. And so I did order that, which will also start in July. One of the things that I was planning to use this monthly for was to create weekly brain dump lists. But between those two planners, I really don't think I'm going to need it for that. And honestly, even what I'm doing now seems to be working pretty well. And so I have somewhat shifted from what I was originally going to use this planner for. So I'm going to flip through it and show you my notes. I really don't have a whole lot set up yet, but I do have everything planned out. And so I think you'll be able to get a good idea of what I'm going to use it for. Okay, so first of all, I have this charm on it. I actually made this. I just put my word of the year here on it, which is curiosity. So anyway, if you see that floating around, I've just been on a crafting kick lately, and one of my favorite things to make right now is planner charms. And so just about every notebook I have has one of these on it now. So this is the one that I made for this planner. Okay, and then inside, the first thing, okay, so we have that. All right, so one of the main things that I am utilizing with this planner is these, what are they called? Snap-in dashboard, Snap-in pocket dashboards, I think something like that. And so on this first one, I have put in my 2025 goals. So the things that I have decided to actually keep in this planner still are my goals and my budget. I was planning to use this more of like a catch-all where just like the miscellaneous things go, but I think I'm going to have plenty of room for that in other planners. And these are the two areas that I really didn't have a good place for right now. The things that I have used previously just weren't clicking. And so I'm going back to a more DIY sort of method for both of these. So on this first tab, I have my 2025 goals. And then on the back of it, I'm going to have my 25 in 2025 list. I just need to copy it down from the other notebook that it's in, but then I will put it in here too. And I've been trying to think of what to do with these pages, the 12 boxes page. And I think what I want to do is put how much I save each month. So I'll break it down from the different ways that I'm saving. So things that go into my emergency fund, things that go into sinking funds, things like that. I've also been doing like money challenges, which are really fun. And so I will probably have a category for that as well. Savings is just one of my huge goals this year. I've even been looking at more long-term type savings like Roth IRAs and high yield savings accounts, things like that. And so when I add those in, then they will also be tracked in here. So I think it would just be a really good spot to track all of my savings each month, but that's not finalized yet. I just think that it would actually probably be a really good place to do that. And honestly, it was the best thing that I could think of to use this space for. I love these pages. I just don't always know how to use them. Okay, so because I got this planner later in the year, I have nothing in the beginning pages. Eventually I might use it just for some reference information that I want to keep close by. But for now, the first 3 months are all blank. And honestly, April doesn't have that much in it too, because I was just kind of playing around with April. So I have nothing on the monthly calendar. For this dashboard page at the beginning of the month, I just put some important dates here, and then I tried to put in my monthly goals. I love this page for my yearly goals in the beginning, but I kind of hated having it stuck in the planner like this. Like I printed it on sticker paper, and I just didn't like this. So I think I'm going to switch up how I do that next month. I'll probably just write it out, not try to print out any form, something like that. I think I just like it better that way. but I do want to continue to keep my goals on this page. And then I marked off a couple pages to put in budget information. Oh, that is one thing I might go back and add in later. I have my budgets just written out on random pieces of paper, and so I might gather all of them together and just go back and transfer it into the previous months just so I have it all in one place. So I marked off pages for that, but then I didn't actually end up writing anything on them yet. And then in the spirit of being completely random, I made a list of things that I needed to do in my garden. This was back when this was just going to be a catch-all, and this was a list I was trying to keep track of, and so I was like, hey, might as well just put it in here. So that is the one thing that actually made it into this planner pretty much. And then the rest of the pages at the end are blank. Then I have another one of these dashboards, and I actually have this at the end of the month, but I think I might move it to the beginning, probably in the monthly calendar. I think that might be a good place for it. And what this one is going to hold is a list of all of my bills. I used to be so good. I could just list off every single payment that I have and what day it was due on. I just had all of that memorized, and I just can't do that. And so because I'm going to use this mostly for my budget, I want to have a list of all of my bills. And so I just put this note page in here, and I will write them out all on there. And then I have this dashboard that I can just move between each month. On the back of it, I don't have anything yet. I've been trying to think if there's anything else finance related that I want to just keep within each month. I have some ideas, like maybe a list of my sinking funds. That might be helpful. Anyway, I do think I will utilize this. I'm just not sure exactly how yet. I absolutely love these dividers though. I love that they can move from month to month and they can be used to store more like permanent information, but I love using these for reference. In fact, I have a whole YouTube video all about different ways to use these. And I also just purchased the new set. I think it's called Blushberry. The colors are so pretty. I love these colors too. They just match all of the floral designs so perfectly. But I'm also really excited to get the new set. So these are amazing. I have so much fun with these. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I'm planning to do for May. So the monthly calendar. First of all, for sure, I want to put my bills in here. I love having my bills written out on a monthly calendar layout, which is one of the reasons why I think having this tab will be really good to have in the monthly, because that's where I'm going to need it to be able to write them all out. I'm also trying to decide if I want to put my calendar events in here or not, because like I said, I'm going to have another planner, and so I don't necessarily know if I need to have them on here, but at the same time it might be nice to have everything all in one place too. But my bills probably won't go on my regular monthly calendar, and it might get crowded having both. I don't know. We'll see. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards just keeping financial related deadlines and things like that on here. And then for the monthly dashboard page, so like I said, I'm going to keep my goals over on this side. Up here in this column, I want to use this for holidays and birthdays, things that are coming up where I might be gifting people or sending cards, things like that. That's been one of my goals this year, is to just keep better track of that and send things to my family that doesn't live nearby, especially like my nephews, because I don't get to see them very often. So I want to make sure that they know that I'm thinking about them. And so I just thought this would be a good space to just keep track of all of that and any plans that I have for that area. Then these two columns right here, I'm going to repurpose them from what they are labeled. This one's going to be unusual bills that are coming up. So maybe things that renew annually, like Amazon Prime, or I have multiple websites that I have to renew the domain every year. So things like that can go here, just so I know that it's something that's a little bit out of the ordinary. That's actually something else that might be good on that 12 boxes page in the beginning, is yearly bills that just are not usual. But I also could put that on one of these divider things too. Okay, I am actually going to write that down because I just realized that's probably actually a really good thing to have somewhere. Okay, and I will save that for later. Okay, anyway, so those types of things will go in this box. And then over here, I'm going to have this to track unexpected expenses. Maybe there's a baby shower that I need a gift for, or unexpected repairs on something, anything like that. because I think this is going to help when I make future budgets know what I actually need to budget for. Because sometimes you don't know what you need money set aside for until it happens. This is an attempt at being able to just get better at budgeting. And then of course we have the habit tracker down here. I don't know if I'm going to use this. Honestly, I'm kind of really bad at habit tracking. But what I was thinking is that I could use it to track no spend days. So if I do, that'll probably be at least one of the things that I do. If I have other money related habits or goal habits that I'm trying to keep track of, I could put them here. I just don't know if I'm actually going to do anything with that. Okay, on the next 2 pages, I'm going to use these for my weekly goals. I may have to switch this up if there's a month that has like 5 weeks in it, but for the most part, I think that 4 is going to be fine. So I'm just going to divide up each page in half and do half a page for each week and just list out what my goals are for that week. And then pretty much the rest of the monthly section, I am setting aside for budget related things. So when I budget, I like to just do it on regular paper. I've tried worksheets. I've even tried creating my own worksheets that are laid out the way I normally lay out a scratch piece of paper. But honestly, I just really love the flexibility of having a blank page. So these 2 pages are for my 2 monthly budgets, or I should say each time I get paid. I usually like to do a budget every couple of weeks or about twice a month. And so I think 2 pages should be fine for that. If I ever have to do a check-in in between that, I can just write on the previous page. There should still be room for that. My budget is generally something I don't share online. However, I did want to explain a little bit about how I have it laid out. So even though I don't have a set layout, I tend to put certain things in the same spot. So up here at the top, I will always put in where my balances currently are. My bank balance, my credit card balances. I pay off my credit cards every month, and so I just like to keep track of how much I'm putting on there because I do like to get the cash back for it. But then I just pay them off every month. And so I like to put all of those balances here. On this side, I always list out my income. I have income coming in from all kinds of random places, and I just like to keep track of that. And so I keep that all over here on this side. Then in this section down here, this is usually where I work out where the money is going to go. I will write down my starting balance, and I'll just kind of do it like a long math problem. Just one at a time, I will write out the money that needs to come out for certain things, and then I'll usually label it next to it, what it's for, just so I remember later. But basically, it just looks like a math problem. I just keep subtracting and figuring out the balance, what's left, until it's all figured out. And then I will have some extra space down here. There are other things that I like to write down just so I remember. Like if one of the websites is down when I try to go pay a bill, then I need to write down that bill didn't get paid. And so that way I can remember when I go back later that I still need to go pay that bill. Or when some bills are paid, I like to make sure that I make a note that they were paid so that I don't try to go back and repay them later. Or just other random things that happen throughout the month. So I just like to have a little bit of note space on there to just keep track of anything else that I just might need to remember later. So that's basically how I do my budget, and it just works really well for me just having it on a regular lined piece of paper. And so I figured instead of fighting it, I should just go with it, and I think this is actually going to work really well for that. Mostly because that's actually what does work really well for me. The next thing I was desperately needing a place to keep track of is my sinking funds. None of the budget planners I've tried have really had a good spot to keep track of sinking funds, and it is something I wanted to keep track of every month. And so I have a page dedicated to that. And then I'm going to use the next few pages for spending trackers. So this page is for anything that comes out of the bank. And then I have space for each of my credit cards to track what comes out of those each month. And then the very last page, I'm going to do a budget summary. One of my goals this year is to better track my spending, and I really want to know how much is being spent on food, how much is being spent on miscellaneous things, maybe how much I'm spending on planner stuff, because I do tend to do that too. I just haven't been very good about tracking that this year especially, and so I want to have a page where I can go through and actually look at what the money is being spent on. Another reason why these spending trackers are going to be so important. Another thing that I love about this planner though is that if this doesn't work, I can change it up for the next month. Every month I can switch up anything that's not working and just keep the things that do. So I really love that about using a monthly planner. It's also why I don't pre-set up things, because I like to vary it up. And life changes all the time, and you never know what you're going to need or not need, especially like a few months down the road. I just love that I can try this out for May, and if it doesn't work, I'll switch it up in June. And then the last thing I have in this planner is I actually opted to get the extra lined notes pages. So I have a tabbed section here at the back, and then I have another one of these dashboards just because it was extra from that set. And so if I do think of something I need for it, it's right here. But it also helps to mark where my note pages begin. And so I just have all of these note pages. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to use these for. I could use them for savings trackers or any other financial information I want to keep track of. I also might use them for random projects that I'm working on, especially if there's projects related to my goals. It would be really nice to have a dedicated space where that can go to, or just any reflections that I have about my goal setting process, anything like that. I just have all these extra note pages that I can just use for whatever comes up. And then of course in the back it comes with 2 sheets of stickers. I've already used some of them. I put these other stickers in here. I have another one of those monthly goal pages that I printed out, and I probably won't use it. It is on sticker paper. We have the folder, and that's the end of it. So that is how I have my monthly planner set up. I am really excited to start filling in pages for May. I do think this is going to be helpful and hopefully solve my budgeting and goal setting issues. If you want to see my video where I list off all of the different ways that I thought of to use these snap-in dividers, you can check out this video right here. There are a ton of different uses for them. Seriously, one of my favorite products that ERIN CONDREN has right now. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.